Happy New Year, everyone. Today is January 1st, 2020. We have made it into another year. Hope everybody had a safe and happy New Year's Eve and a good Christmas holiday season. Today, since we're right in the middle of seed catalog season, we're going to have a conversation about seed catalogs and sources for seeds. I know everybody has their favorites, and there's a few that everybody talks about, so we're going to talk about these and many more. Stay tuned. Okay, let's get started with our seed catalog review. But yes, we still are having daily visits from the puppy to next door, and still trying to talk me into keeping her. She is a cutie. She's 5 weeks old now, so they're getting closer to being weaned. So we will see if we decide to keep it or not. She's getting a little more friendly with us and a little more comfortable with us. But she's been over here, like I said, almost every day.
So, hey, I'll take her. We'll go cuddle.
Okay, like we said earlier, that it is in the middle of seed catalog season. It's January 1st. Holidays are behind us. It's time to, we're a long ways from spring, but it's time to start thinking about our gardens and what we're going to be putting in them, especially if we want to start seeds prior to springtime to transplant later. And as a kid, I always remember around this time of year, my dad would always get the seed catalogs, and I only remembered a handful at that time. I think there was 5 or 6. The ones I remember the most were Burpees, Gurneys, Park Seeds, Stark Brothers, and Henry Fields. And for the most part, those are still out there. We'll talk about them a little later, but they're still out there. Right now, since I've gotten involved with the YouTube and watching YouTube homesteaders and gardeners, there's just a few names that seem to pop up, and some that pop up a real lot, and they're excellent seed vendors, those being Baker Creek and M.I. Gardner. Last year, everything I planted from seed, I did purchase from Baker Creek and was extremely satisfied. They are located about 7 hours from where we live, and my wife and I would like to take a trip and visit their facilities, or possibly even go for their big festival they have in the spring. But and M.R. Gardner, I've looked at them, and he's got an excellent selection. I've watched many of his videos. I like what he does on his videos. But as I started thinking about my seeds and stuff, actually in the 1st of December after Thanksgiving, I started poking around on the internet to see, just what else is out there, because sometimes you want to have multiple sources in case one place runs out, or somebody has something a little different, or you want to try something a little different that you can't find in the places you're going, and you just need to go look and see. So I started doing some internet searches, and I have come up with, and this is just a basic spreadsheet list, 102 seed vendors that I have found. Some have paper catalogs, some don't. I've ordered as many paper catalogs as I can. As of to this date, I've got about 12 of them sitting in front of me, and we'll talk about them as we go along. But there is anything you could imagine is out there on these sheets. They're mainly vegetable seeds. Some of them also handle fruits and flowers. Some of them handle seeds for sprouts and microgreens. There is one catalog in there that is strictly for sprouts and microgreens. I threw that in there because there are some people that want to grow that in the wintertime, because you can do that indoors and still have fresh greens. The name of that one, if I remember correctly, is Sprout People. And if you're into sprouts, that's all they sell is things for sprouts, microgreens, all the supplies, the seeds, all that type of thing. Another oddball that I threw into the mix here is one called, and I did get a paper catalog from them, is strictly medicinal. If you are thinking you want to raise plants that could be used for medicinal purposes, they also have edibles. If you're into edible flowers or edible plants other than your vegetables for garnishes, or they do have also some herbs and stuff. But mainly of what they have in here is for medicinal purposes. It's pretty basic black and white catalog, but there's a lot of information in here about the plants, the different plants, growing them, what they're good for, how to grow them, and so on and so forth. Which a lot of these catalogs, whether they're in paper form or on the internet, they have a lot of information to offer, not just the seeds. If you dig around in the catalogs, you'll read, they may have a section in there on how to grow the beans or this corn or whatever you purchase. And if you dig around on their internet ones, they may have even more and have recipes and how to grows and what are good companion plants for those, and all kinds of information. Another thing that I liked when I was doing this research that I like to look into was, it's usually on the home page somewhere, is the About Us or the About tab. Click that, read about the company, see what they're all about, see if they've been in business 10 years, 10 or 20 years, 30 years, 100 years. I found some that have been in business for 120 to 150 years, and there's one that's been in business the longest, is one that you probably wouldn't think of, and I'll save you that information for the end. Another thing to look for is look for seed companies that are possibly in your area, because they may have seeds that grow the best in your part of the country or even your state, if you can find them. For me, when I first started this, I thought the closest seed vendor to me was Baker Creek, 7 hours away. As I dug into it, I found a second one that has been in business since 1883 in Rocky Ford, Colorado. Its name is Burrell, Burell, and they do have a paper catalog. I have not received it as of yet. I may do a follow-up video to this as I get some more of my seed catalogs in that I ordered, and I cannot remember how many I ordered, so yeah, I may have stacks of them before I'm done with this. But like I said, they were in business since 1883, and the way they got started is Mr. Burrell came to Rocky Ford, I don't know if you have ever heard of the Rocky Ford cantaloupe, which are fairly famous. Those were grown there, and they were shipped out of there by the carloads, hundreds of carloads to the east, going to Kansas City, Missouri, and St. Louis, Missouri. And the time that he moved in there, they were starting to have a shortage of Rocky Ford cantaloupe seeds. So he bought 2 carloads of cantaloupes just to harvest the seeds so that he could have them to sell the next year. And he sold them on a vacant lot, which to this day is where their store is at. And Rocky Ford is only about 4.5 hours from where I live, and may take a trip there and see if we can do a video on that. And Rocky Ford is in the Arkansas River Valley of southeastern Colorado, where cantaloupes, watermelons, and all kinds of vegetables grow very well. You go out there in late summer, and the highway through that area is just lined with, or there used to be, I think there's still a lot of them there, they're family-owned, family-run vegetable stands. And these aren't just a little stand, these are large stands with everything you can imagine. I'm sure they ship in some things, but most things are grown right there within that area. And if you go through there at the right time when it's onion harvest, you go through town and you'll see big semi trucks loaded with onions going to the processing plant, and then you'll see them leave used to haul them on a flat semi trailer in 10-pound bags, just loaded with onions as they went down the road as they left. And as you drive through town, you open the window in your car, you can smell the onions. The closest one to us that I did not know about is actually one that's the furthest from us, and that's an oddity that I will talk about at the end of the video, so that you can stick around for that. Some other ones, like I said, the burpees and gurneys are the ones my dad used, and they're still out there. I've got their catalogs already. They look similar to what they did then. Of course, now they do have sections for heirloom and organic just like everybody else does. It seems like everybody's looking for that. Back when I remembered it, I don't think I saw that in any of their catalogs, but I don't remember. To be honest, I don't think I heard the term heirloom tomato or vegetables till about 10 years ago. And so that's not new by any means, because to be considered an heirloom, it has to be more than 50 years old or something to that nature. That might be another video to talk about terminologies and all of that. But I may order from Burpees or Gurneys just out of nostalgia. That's what I used to look at and drool over as a kid. And every once in a while, my dad would let me buy something and grow it, and that was always fun to get me involved. And like I've said in other videos, I've been in and out of gardening my whole entire adult life, and until last year, last summer was the first one I'd planted seeds for probably 10 years. I did just been growing transplants for several years, but I'm wanting to expand, and I'm going to expand my garden space this year and do more varieties. And looking at all these catalogs is just wanting to do more, and I'll try to do as many as I can. Whatever you think you want to raise, you could probably find out there in any of these catalogs, these 102. And actually, since I put this list together, I found probably 3 or 4 more that I'll probably add to this list when I get back in front of a computer. Like I said, some have paper catalogs, some just internet. Some things that a lot of them I have noticed and started reading up on is a lot of them have signed the Safe Seed Pledge, which that is something that they say to the best of their knowledge, and they work their hardest to make sure that the seeds that they provide are of the top quality and heirloom and non-GMO seeds. And that's something to look for. Another thing to look for, I notice on some of them, is see how much of the seeds that they grow themselves. Some of them will say it right in there that they grow 30% of the seeds that they sell, or they only purchase from certain suppliers, because a lot of these are basically seed resellers, and there's nothing wrong with that. They buy seeds that they have found, and they buy them in bulk, repackage them, and sell them, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But there are some out there that grow some of their own seeds, and like Baker Creek, they grow some of their own seeds, or they contract with others. Another one I read about, they grow 30% of their seeds, and then they contract with certified growers that they go and visit on a regular basis to get their seeds. So that is something to consider. There is one out there, he does not have a paper catalog. His name is Casey's Heirloom Tomatoes, and he has a small catalog of 90 varieties of tomatoes and peppers, and he's a school teacher. He does the seeds on the side, and he grows every seed that he sells himself. So if you order seeds from him, they have been grown by him. They've been harvested, fermented, packaged by him or his family, his wife, and I think they got their child involved now. And they live in Alberta, Canada, which you stop and think, that's Zone 3A, or actually Zone 3. And their late frost is June 7th, and their first frost is August 24th. So what he grows a lot in greenhouses. So, and that's all he has is a small window of tomatoes and peppers. The price I felt was not out of line. Everything he sells, there's 25 seeds in a packet for $3 Canadian, which when you make the conversion, it makes it about $2.30. But you're going to be getting a seed that that was grown and harvested by the same person and to his quality standards. And he goes into detail on how he grows these seeds and make sure that they're not exposed to any GMOs or cross pollinations. And you're helping out the small guy. I mean, he's just a one man or one family, 2 or 3 people deal. So that's a nice thing to have. Others that I've come across that I found, and this is more of a regional one, is Wood Prairie Family Farms. Small catalog. This is actually their 2019. but they're from up in Maine, so they have a lot of things that would grow well up in that area. So if you're up in that area or see something there you like, you might think of them. Seed Savers Exchange, beautiful picture on their cover this year. First time I've heard of them. First time I've ever laid eyes on their catalog. I've done some reading on them. They seem to be a very conscious group of trying to keep the seeds safe, and the diversity that we're losing with the GMOs and all of that of the modern stuff. Another seed exchange is Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. Just got that one the other day. Done a little bit of reading on them. There's probably people on here that know more about them than I do. Another one that I've heard about, got their catalog, looked at it some, Johnny's. Don't know, like I said, haven't done a lot of reading on them yet. If you are looking to do just onions, or want somebody that knows a lot about onions, Dixondale Farms. That's all is in this catalog, is onions and leeks. And there's a lot of information in here in this list. And it's not a big catalog. It's free. All you gotta do is go on their website and tell them you want a free catalog. There's a lot of information on how to grow onions, how to choose the proper onions for where you live, maps to show you where you live, which ones will work where. So if you're wanting to grow some onions, check them out. Another small one, I guess you pronounce that Wilhite. Correct. Apologize if that's incorrect. Another small catalog. I haven't done a lot of reading on them yet. But just whatever you think you're looking for, it's probably out there. There is one company, and I'll try to pronounce it, but yeah, I'll probably butcher it if I can find it on my list. It is Kdenlive seed. It's Japanese. And they've been in business in California since 1916. And they sell strictly Asian varieties of vegetables. And you need to, if you're interested in something like that, check them out. Again, they have smaller seed packages and a little higher prices, but they're selling something a little more unique and a little different. So it's worth looking into. I did find one seed company. They're called Sample Seeds. They just sell very small quantities for a very small price. So if you find something you think you want to try, but you're not sure if you're going to like it and want to grow a lot, check them out. There's another one. I can't remember the name right off, and I don't know if I'll be able to find it on my list. But there's another one out there that they sell everything in 1 pound bags. So if you're wanting to grow a lot of something, there's a company out there that can help you out with that. And they had a pretty good variety of products. They sold but it's all in bigger bags. That's another thing about Burrell, is they sell bigger seed packages, because when they went into business, everybody had a kitchen garden with a big family that garden had to feed that family pretty much year round. So they sold their seeds in larger quantities. And another bit of history, I don't know if you've ever heard of the term seedsman, but back in probably early 1800s, late 1700s here in the United States, a seedsman was somebody who cultivated and raised and harvested the seeds, and then every winter would go out on his horseback or in his wagon and go pretty much homestead to homestead, or maybe stop at a few general stores and peddle his seeds and trade seeds, and then take them back and plant them and grow them and expand his library of seeds. And seed saving is another thing that I may look into doing for myself in the future, to perpetuate my own seed vault, so to speak. So I may do some videos on that in the future. Of course, everybody's heard and talked about Baker Creek. Excellent company, excellent story. They have a book out called The Heirloom Gardener, I believe is the title. I'm in the process of reading that. It's a good read. I would highly recommend it. They have 2 catalogs they put out every year. They've got the one you get for free, which is this one. Then they have their whole seed catalog, which costs $12.95, and it's 3 times as big as the free one. Has all of the seeds that's in them, but then it also has a lot more pictures. It has a lot more There's actually 1 and 2 page stories on certain seed varieties, where they came from, how they came to be. There's recipes. Everybody's looking for recipes to use, because you have all this produce and you need to know ways to cook it. There's recipes in here. There's some stories about the company, stories about their staff. They talk about, have spent several pages just on their staff. Just, it's an excellent choice. I'm glad I purchased it. I haven't read it through by any means, but there's a lot of information in here. And for me, I like to read about the history of stuff and the seeds and where they came from and so on and so forth. So if you think that's something you would like, you can order that off of the Baker Creek website. I have also been seeing it's popping up in some Walmarts and some other bookstores around. So, keep an eye out if you think that's something you would like, or if you see one, take a look at it, see if it's something you'd like. So that is pretty much just a quick overview of...
Well, I have a question.
Yes?
If people want that list, how would they get that from you?
If anybody would like this list,
Can you email it?
I could try, if you would email wallstreethomestead@gmail.com. It's on an Excel spreadsheet, just a basic spreadsheet. All it is the name of the company and their link. And they're just in alphabetical order. There's 102 of them. And as of now, I may add those others on here as I will. There is one on here that's not a seed company. It is a link to an article that listed 60 different seed catalogs, which most of them are on here. There's a few that aren't, because when I tried to click the link in the article, it was showing that it was a dead link. So, but if you would like this, and I don't know how it'll work, but we could try that. If you would like this list, just email me at wallstreethomestead@gmail, and I will email it to you. I do know on the computer that I made this on, and then the one I downloaded it to, because I made it on my computer at work, and then I emailed it to myself and downloaded it onto our computer here at home, that the links are live. So you just clicked on them and it would take you right to that. So I'm not going to guarantee that'll work emailing it on to everybody else, but if you would like that, we can sure try that. And this list may grow. Like I said, I've got a few more I want to put on there. So there's a couple of questions that I had there earlier about the seed store that's the oldest, the seed store that's closest to me, which is actually the seed seller that's the furthest from me. And that might sound confusing, but actually all 3 of those are the same one. And it's called Seeds from Italy. That's the American name of it. They are the United States distributor for Frankie seeds from Italy that has been in business under the same family since 1783. And they sell nothing but Italian varieties of vegetables. And they came to this country because a gentleman was a gardener, and he also liked to do some gourmet cooking, and he took a trip to Italy and liked a lot of the varieties of vegetables he found over there. And when he got back home, he started looking to see if he could find them here, and he couldn't. And so I thought, well, I'll find the seeds and I'll grow them myself. And he couldn't. So he became the United States distributor for them and named it Seeds from Italy. And that was in 2001. And in 2011, he sold the company to another couple that were very interested in it, which are in Lawrence, Kansas, which is approximately 3 to 3.5 hours from where I live. And basically all they have is an office and a warehouse there. Of course, the main offices and the main company is over in Italy. And have a neat story about that on their website. And that's, they do not have a paper catalog. Or maybe they do. I can't remember. I looked at so many seed companies, I can't remember which ones are which. But that's if you want to really try something unique. And I looked through their website, and everything that's on there is things that are not seen in a lot of the catalogs over here. And they do say on their website that all of their varieties can grow in the United States without, and I can't remember the zones, but they gave a zone range and it covered a pretty good chunk of the United States that they would grow in. So if you're into trying something really unique, check that out. Well, I've gone on quite a while. I could probably keep going, but I think I'll close this video. If you like what you see, let me know. I may do another one or a follow-up as I get more paper catalogs in, or if you want to hear more about some different seed companies, I mean,
let us know what your favorite seed company
and
is.
let us know what your favorite seed company down is in the comments so everybody can see. I think they're all great. They're all wonderful. Everybody has their own little thing that they have. There's someone, I've got stories on top of my head I'd like to tell you, but I'm getting down a pretty long video here. I may do another follow-up to this and just pick 4 or 5 companies or 6 companies and do something like that. So again, Happy New Year. Thank you for watching. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, ring the notification bell, like this video, share it with your friends and neighbors, and let us know what you think. And we might have a dog next time we have a video, but then again we might not. So have a good day, everybody.